for coming out to the City Council meeting. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Hayes.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Blazer.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Hitt.
Here.
Russell.
All right. Good to see everyone this evening. Have you, let's see here, I had a chance to take a look at the minutes that were emailed to you from our last meeting. All right. Any changes or corrections? All right. All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Okay, minutes carried. On to communications and announcements. We have an update this evening from the downtown study by the Historic Downtown Revitalization Committee. And we will be taking a look at a presentation from Shannon Trainer. She's a member of the Historic Downtown Revitalization Committee. She's one of the members there.
Hello, good evening. My name is Shannon Trainer. I sit on the Historic Downtown Revitalization Commission with all of our other commission members. Amy Boyd is the director of the Practice Center. Jackie Call owns, it used to be Cultivate, and now she's got the shop on Main Street. Todd Fisher owns several buildings downtown. Wayne Roberts, who's present here, is also one of the directors of Madison County Parks and Trails, and then myself. This is just our update to you to kind of follow up where we are in the process of trying to get some revitalization downtown. Just a reminder, this is a map, well, a close approximation of the map of what is officially the downtown London Commercial Business Historic District. I believe this map emanates from, I think it was the mid-'80s when the first application for registry as a historic downtown was made, probably in support of some community block development grants along back in those times. Just by way of kind of where we started and where we are now, 1985 is when this the historic district was placed on the National Register. In August of 1997, the council created the Historic Review Board for purposes of maintaining some sort of, I think uniformity in preservation of the historic appearance of our downtown businesses and buildings. Then there was sort of a big block of time there. In 2015, the Ordinance 131-15 created the Historic Downtown Revitalization Commission, of which I am a member. That kind of sort of died on the vine there for a little bit until 2018, when a proposal relative to vacant buildings sort of sparked some interest in renewing or reviewing what laws were already on the books before simply enacting further legislation relative to efforts towards revitalization. And that really sparked Todd to review, and I think Wendy Starr was also elemental in that, to seek actual appointees for the HDRC, which had been created some 4 years earlier. So we had our first meeting in January, February of 2019, and we were sort of flying blind there for a little bit, insofar as not really having a clear direction on how to go about revitalizing a downtown. So after reviewing some other small, similarly sized communities, the commission decided to engage the services of Heritage Ohio and have a basically professional downtown assessment conducted, which would then lead to recommendations for how to basically structure an organization in order to take it to the next level. That assessment was originally scheduled for May of 2020, and then COVID kind of turned everybody upside down, so it was continued until October of 2020, and a lot of it was done with very small group settings. We did have a town kind of feedback session here, all with social distancing and all those protocols were followed, ultimately resulting by February of 2020 in a really thorough downtown assessment report. And part of their the assessment report, some of it's pretty formulaic. I've probably printed off about 500 of the 1,000 or 2,000 pages of recommendations that came as a result of that report. But if you boil it down to its base elements, it really centers around 4 different key recommendations. The first of which is this commission, this whole downtown revitalization effort really needs to be sponsored by a non-for-profit organization. Whether or not you're a 501c3, I think is not as critical at this point in time, although we will be seeking 501c3 status. Right now, we are simply looking to create a nonprofit organization that would then be peopled by a board of directors and some committee chairs, utilizing the strengths of each individual member based on the ultimate objectives of the downtown revitalization project. Some of which, and I'll just hit these briefly and then come back and touch on them a little bit. Build this nonprofit organization, have a board member committee chairs, have a building inventory and assessment conducted, and this is basically identifying what strengths you have, what buildings are vacant, what buildings are derelict, and what buildings need real, the first round of attention. Secondarily, the same kind of laser focus needs to go on to the businesses themselves. What kind of businesses do we have downtown? Or in London, the business district, what businesses would we like to see that aren't there, and basically where are we losing money? Where are we losing the money that's driving to Springfield or driving to Columbus because it can't be found here, or at least not here in the quality or quantity that people are looking for? And then finally, as a downtown organization or downtown centrally focused area, what can we do to encourage people to want to come here, the businesses that want to come here, stay here, and then invest some of their own hard-earned dollars in improving our downtown area? So where we are right now is we have, in fact, created a nonprofit organization. The articles of organization have been signed. They're on their way to the Secretary of State. The new nonprofit's name, as a result of a much discussion, we resolved on the 1811 Downtown District. Now, this naming was a challenge in and of itself, and you can see some of the other, here in this bottom right-hand corner, some of the key points, words that we were trying to focus on as a really just sort of a brainstorming session about what kind of area we want to evoke when you think of downtown. Everybody loved the word district and alley and station and marketplace and all of these things, but there's a couple words that as a when you're talking about elements of design and elements of marketing, that even though you want to use them, you really shouldn't, like the word old. Old London town doesn't really want it to bring anybody to it. We want to say that yes, we're historic, but not necessarily old. We do want people to come here still. So this was a long process of, and ultimately we resulted on sort of a amalgamation with the 1811, obviously, is the year that London was founded. Downtown, because it's already in people's lingo. We wanted this to be a word that somebody was going to already be using. And then districts, because it evokes the brewery district, the market district, that's where people have fun, is in the district. So we kind of moshed all these things together and ultimate design and marketing elements will take pieces of it. And you can see our some of the mock-ups of some of the potential marketing and other logo emblems that have been presented. Obviously, they're a very rough format right now, based on some of these talking points that we'd had. So we have also selected at least 5 initial board members. 5 initial board members include both myself, Todd Fisher, Amy Boyd again from Proctor Center, Jeremy Search, he does marketing and sales for OSU, and David Mars, you may have seen some of his work. He's doing property restoration. He's also organized the first London Marathon coming up here Memorial Day weekend. 2 of our first committee chairs are Jackie Call, again, of downtown. She's going to be the chair of probably some of the marketing design elements, and then Wayne Roberts, who is our very vital liaison, especially as it pertains to London with other nonprofit organizational groups such as Madison County Parks and Trails, also with the Visual Arts Guild, and with another organization called the Trail Town Committee or Commission, basically highlighting towns that fall on historic trails like the bike trail here, and linking those and sending interested bikers, especially from town to town to town. So and that's a very real thing that's going to be. London has already been identified as a potential trail town, so Wayne's a very critical liaison insofar as keeping us in communication with where they are on that same front. So as with any new company, obviously strong organization is going to be the key. I firmly believe we've got a really good, strong organizational element. Obviously, we are just getting started with the design elements. Obviously, everything is just getting started. Our focus right now is going to be identify a first project. It's going to be a renewable project, whether it's a fundraiser, whether it's an event. We haven't really figured it out yet. And then we're going to form our base board members and various committee chairs around that project and see how we can best maximize everybody's strengths and talents. Obviously, the design element is going to flow off of that. As the promotion is going to be a big thing, especially to identify what it is that we're trying to do and how it is that we can be a center of communication for all of the other programming that's already occurring with some of the other nonprofit organizations, such as Parks and Trails, such as Visual Arts Guild, and make sure that we have a centralized communication center in order to communicate that there are things to do downtown, or even just in London general, even if not downtown. Creating something that is of economic vitality is obviously with an eye towards the future, because all of this is kind of pointless unless it has the ability to self-fund and self-propel. And funding is going to be a big initial source of challenge. The core recommendations of Heritage Ohio were ultimately to look for a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 source of funding. 1/3 of funding from, how would I describe it? Like promotional events, fundraising, where you have a bake sale or an art show or something like that, and you would have funding that is coming into this organization directly. Obviously, fundraising, soliciting from individuals and businesses to be sponsors of this organization, and then there's also a municipal component of that where the city would be hopefully an active and willing participant and committing at least some regular and renewable sources of funding going forward. So just to touch on some of the other key points, the building inventory, we do have an initial draft. It was done in 2018. It just needs to be updated about where some of the target buildings are going to be first, and we're focusing especially on derelict and vacant buildings. The business inventory and assistance, this was just an informal study, and I don't remember now who did it. I think it was just a little Facebook thing. You can see, obviously, everybody in London is clamoring for some kinds of sit-down family restaurants and things like that, and everybody's, everyone wants to go where the food is. So I know there are some talks, especially with Paul Gross, in coming with a more Montana-style restaurant that's a little far for a walk from the downtown area. I'm thrilled to have it. I mean, we'll take every new invention or innovation that we can get on these fronts. But this is just an idea of what just a very informal study people thought we should be focusing on in here insofar as attracting and assisting new businesses. The encouraging rehabilitation and creating incentives with possibility of, if incentives don't work, what else is there? The Heritage Ohio really focuses on giving people the reason to want to fix some of these buildings. And right now we've got some problem with some people that either won't sell what they have or they won't use what they have. And these are some of the buildings that are what you notice when you come downtown. And I know this one here on the end is a private residence, but we're going to be looking very hard into what can be done in order to move some of these properties. Some of these properties were bought on the cheap, have zero improvements to them, and the current owners are expecting to flip them for way of their inflated value. Some of these buildings have no actual commercial activity, despite what their signage might suggest. And then obviously the personal residence is not directly in the historic district, but is directly adjacent to the historic district and faces it. And this is obviously problematic when you're trying to revitalize one area. You can't ignore its neighboring areas. We don't have any good answers right now, but some of the suggestions that have been proposed were matching funds, grants, low interest loans, eminent domain, and then special assessments. Special assessments would be things that would ultimately end up on the property tax bill, and for derelict or properties that attract vermin that are condemned or anything along these lines result in special assessments. If you can't pay the assessment, then we can ultimately foreclose for non-payment of the assessment. So where we are right now, this is the current this is the current draft of Ordinance 289.04. This is the funding source of the Ohio Historic, the Revitalization Commission, of which I am a happy member. I put it here and then just point out where some of our questions are. So this was, again, the legislation was enacted in 2015, and it had a ready source of funding starting in calendar year 2016 from this $50,000 of, and I believe this central collection agency was to collect delinquent city income tax. To my knowledge, and this is really informal knowledge, there has been, I think, one source of funding from the Central Collection Agency, but I also don't believe that the Central Collection Agency is collecting delinquent city tax any longer. So I think that what the commission is going to request right now is just a simple ledger history. Like, where did this money come from? Has there been other sources that should have been funding, and if not, why not? I mean, is the city collecting delinquent income taxes? If it's not with the Central Collection Agency, who is it with? And if this is not a workable piece of legislation, what do we need to modify it so that it becomes a workable piece of legislation? So that request will come after we have some fact-finding and a little bit of digging to do insofar as who is collecting. If nobody is collecting, why isn't anybody collecting? Is there money to be collected? Do we need to look at alternative sources of funding for this group? Because obviously everything comes down to money. If we're going to have the ability to promote, to communicate, to have all this, we got to have a source of funding. Even to build a website and host a domain name, you got to have at least a little bit of funding right now. So ultimately, we're probably going to be making a request for at least a little bit of startup and seed money, just for that purpose, for promotion, for design, for creation of a website, central information, that sort of thing. Once we figure out what do we have, where did it come from, and is there any more money likely to come in from this source? If not, what source can we look at? Two other things, just FYI, we did request, and the council may recall this or not, we did request funding from this account for the actual downtown study, which was commissioned. That cost was $5,000. That was approved by special enactment because we obviously here, this fund on Part B, you see it can be for reimbursement purposes only. A business can apply for reimbursement after the project is completed. The project must be one approved by the commission. This is as wide open as it gets. I don't know how, it's really no surprise that this has not been a widely utilized ordinance because who knows what this means? Is there a cap? Is there a minimum? I mean, can I go spray my sidewalks off and say, hey, can you pay me back some water? I don't know. It's a little lacking, I suppose, in parameters here. So those are our questions. Also, one other request that we'll be making is there are two basic stratas to when you're looking with Heritage Ohio and what kind of assistance program it has for keeping this, again, this project both renewable and self-propelled. There's an affiliate program, and then there's a full-fledged member in the Ohio Heritage Main Street Project. And this is just an example of the Ohio Main Street communities are listed on the left here, and the downtown affiliate communities are listed on the right. And I think the normal progression is that you would become an affiliate community, and once you have, again, all this vibrancy and hopefully a regular and renewable source of funding and projects, then you can apply for becoming a full-fledged Ohio Main Street program and then utilize the full resources that they have. The cost difference, I believe, just for the affiliate membership is $500 a year. The cost of the full Main Street program is, I believe, around $3,700 a year. So obviously we're not there yet. We're just a very fledgling organization, but we would be making a request for at least that affiliate membership in order to help us help ourselves. And I believe that is my last slide. So that's the end of my presentation. So I'm happy to take any questions if you have any questions or...
Well, thank you very much for all that information. I remember when this began because I was actually one of the original members there. And our mission was we wanted to try to revitalize the downtown. We had a list of the target buildings, and I remember when the legislation was brought forward by Trent Hatt to designate the first $50,000 that was collected by the Central Collection Agency to the Downtown Revitalization Commission. And to my knowledge, what happened to that is that Central Collection Agency never really actually ended up collecting hardly anything. I think it was like $16,000 or something like that they actually ended up collecting. So I think that their services didn't pan out the way that we wanted them to. But we did have money, I think it was like $16,000 or something like that we did have in those funds. As far as requesting dollars and everything for the commission, because the mayor, he's over the commission, he chose the commission, I would say you definitely want to go with the finance committee meetings because you'll be requesting funds, and then also to the public service and public safety. Because you're going to run into instances with building and zoning and things like that when you come into issues with the different buildings and the properties.
Yeah, well, that's a little far. I mean, right now we're trying to get a seed organization started. Like I said, we've organized as a non-for-profit. We have not applied for 501c3 as of yet. We need to get a tax ID number, get a bank account, that kind of thing. But even opening a bank account is going to take money. And right now it's all been volunteered by the individual commission members because there is no money to get this project off the ground.
Yeah,
so.
I'd say definitely you want to go to the finance committee meetings, and since it's commissioned through by the mayor. Right. So definitely there to begin with your seed dollars to get going with that. Sure. The request. Anyone else have any?
Was there a fund line established for that, do you know, or?
Get it right there. Yeah, I think
if there's funds in that, I guess that might be where funds could be appropriated from, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if there was a fund actually set up, but there may have been. I'm not sure. But Kenneth would know there. Okay.
But I guess if that's...
as do all collection agencies. I mean, and it's like I said, if this just isn't gonna pan out, then we probably need to either create an investigation committee or take other bids or do something, but we gotta get rid of this group.
That's why council passed it, because it was going to be so much money, we didn't want to all point in there.
Right. Yeah, we thought it was going to be so much money. Yeah. And at that time too, yeah, you were on council at that time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 250.
250. There you go.
250,000.
But you know, you do have a lot of really good ideas, especially with the eminent domain and assessing fees. I know that was one of the ways that the commission was actually re-sparked into action. Was legislation was brought to start to charge property owners that didn't take care of their properties.
Right.
So you know, I reminded everyone that the commission was started and what happened to it. Where's it at? Let's get it going again. And now we see you guys are on the roll, so please keep it going, because we definitely need it, and we need to revitalize our downtown. We most
Working on
definitely
it.
do.
So, yeah, we'll make our request for information, and then as soon as we have something to report or a further request, we'll talk to either the appropriate committee or get back on the agenda.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, and we do not have any public hearings this evening. And did we have any audience concerns?
We do. I'd like
Okay.
to introduce Lorraine Rader with First Energy Group. She's going to be talking about electric aggregation and supply for London.
Okay.
Good evening.
Evening.
How are you? My name is Lori Rader. I'm from First Energy Advisors, and we are affiliated with First Energy, but we are not the same as Ohio Edison. I've explained it before. We're one of the unregulated affiliates, and what we do is we offer brokerage services for communities such as London in order to help you get supply agreements with your electric aggregation. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with your aggregation program right now in London, but Energy Harbor has the supply agreement for your residents. So your residents will receive a letter from Energy Harbor. If they do nothing, they're on the program. It's kind of a backstop program so that they don't overpay for electric, right, on their one side of their bill. Ohio Edison will always take care of the lines and wires to your home, but the generation is actually shoppable, and that's what your aggregation program covers today. Okay, so your contract is coming up in December. Rex and I have talked, and we believe that our company and me in particular, we can help you gather the information that we need, send it out to various suppliers, bid on electric rates, and then come back to you with a great price for your electricity. We like probably a fixed rate, and then customers in your community will continue to save money compared to just being on the Ohio Edison rate. So that is what we do, and I'm here tonight just to talk to you a little about that, answer any questions. We proposed an agent agreement. It shows our services. We make sure that you keep your certification current. As a city, you are actually registered with the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio as a registered aggregator. So we make sure every 2 years your licenses, we pay for your fees with the OCC and the PUCO every year. These are things that we provide as services. We also make sure if there's any questions customers have, they can call me personally. We make sure that the letters look the way they should. Everything is taken out, but the most important thing we do is we procure for you, and we make sure that we send it to many suppliers, and then we get the best price. Any questions?
What did you say that the name of the energy company that the residents will be going to?
So right now, you're served by Energy Harbor. You were served by First Energy Solutions, and Solutions was taken over by Energy Harbor. I don't work for that company. I work for First Energy's affiliate. But they have a price now that your residents have been paying for the past 2 years. So, and it's been fixed, I believe, I'm not sure what that price is right now. I'd have to look it up. But we're talking about after December of this year, when that contract ends. They don't have to necessarily be the supplier of the future. There's 6 or 7 really good suppliers that supply Ohio communities right now, and we can bid it out and see who wants to fight for your business.
I got a letter this week about something about electricity, and I think it was possibly Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I tore it up. I get so much junk mail, and I looked at it and I thought, Ohio Energy or HIAS, I'm good. So I tore mine up.
Right,
And
so you, I think this is what your community, years ago, all your voters here, and some of you might have been around when they voted, not, I think it was 2009 or 10, said the community actually was on the ballot, and they said, yeah, we want you guys to choose for us, and you have the ability to do that for your community, and you have the ability to sign a contract. Now, every customer in your community, it's small businesses under a certain amount of usage a year. So under 700,000 kilowatt hours a year, any business in town or the residents will be sent a letter. And like you, a lot of people just throw the letter away. If they throw it away, they're going to be put on the program. But if they call or they send there's a way to do it by phone, by web, and anybody can even call me. Okay, they can get out of the program. They don't have to be in it if they don't want to. So, you provide a very good program for your community. I've been doing this now for a long time, and the prices for communities, and I'd have to look at, and we've talked about this, how customers use energy in their homes, how efficient they do, depends on the pricing, but somewhere around 5 cents a kilowatt hour is what we're seeing, or below. So hopefully we can get somewhere in there on a competitive bid starting in December of this year. So that's when your contract ends.
Okay.
And what's our current rate
I think you're at,
with Energy Harbor?
with Harbor, I don't know if I put it in here, 5.13 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay.
And there's about, I think, 2,400 residential homes and businesses in the program today. So not everybody's eligible. So if people are low income, there's special programs in Ohio for them. They can't check that side of their bill. But for other customers, they don't want to be with these programs, they can shop. There's no early termination fees. I think you've seen maybe some of that where you get a letter in the mail and it's like, Visa card, $75 and a great rate, and then all of a sudden, you don't like that price anymore. Your cancellation fee is $150 if you want to get early. That is not part of your program. Anybody can leave or come in or go anytime they want. And right now, Ohio Edison's June rate, their rate's low. It's below 5 cents right now, but in June, Ohio Edison's rate is going up to 5.72 cents a kilowatt hour. So all during summer when people use air conditioning, their rates are generally higher. Your community pays 5.13 if they're on this rate. So it's a steady, smooth price for the year, and it's fixed. In Ohio, fixed means fixed. So if you're on a fixed rate, they can't change that price.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. All right. Will you let me know? And we have.
Yes, we do have legislation later this
Okay.
evening. Thank you. All right, on to our committee reports. We'll start with Mr. Peters.
I went to the finance meeting. Basically, you'll be hearing legislation tonight about city vehicle policy, citywide electric aggregation, dog park, and operating levy renewal. And we'll be going over those this evening.
Okay. Mr. Robinson?
Just the next public service meeting will be June 3rd. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Hayes?
Next safety meeting be June 8th, 6 o'clock in the conference room. I'm going to give the police report. Mr. Hitt will give the fire and EMS, and Ms. Blazer will go over a lot of the notes that she has taken down. She's very good at that. Very few applications for police officer have been received from the recent acceptance period, with the ending date for accepting them having been May 17th. They were going to have a meeting with civil service to extend the period further through May. Police, they have started the needs assessment with Horn and King Architectural Firm. Had an incident with a 17-year-old juvenile damaged a camera in a holding cell a few weeks back. He was recently arrested again on another charge, and during that arrest, he damaged another camera and a cruiser headliner while being transported to JDC, Juvenile Detention Center. The damage to the cruiser was repaired in-house along with camera damage. Been utilizing the new finance software for requisitions and purchase orders. Participated in the Light Ohio Blue Caravan from Opata through London to Columbus on this past Monday. Thanks to London Fire Department for participating with the flag placement along the route. Cruiser 14 has been repaired and is back in service. A module was replaced under warranty to solve the electrical malfunction issue. Again, I'll say it was under warranty. There was no cost to the city. Participated in the annual Madison County DD Autism Awareness Volleyball game at London High School with their fire partners, playing against the Tigers volleyball team. Officer Arela Ravilla completed her field training and is on solo patrol. Officer Carty has a few more weeks to complete in the field training program. They've completed special duty assignments for the Methodist Church Dinner, Election Precinct Security, London High School Prom, and Trinity Church Dinner. Several events upcoming include a Jeep caravan through London to Opata on the 15th, which has already taken place. London Marathon from Merrimack Park along the bike trail going east. London High School graduation parade and graduation ceremony, and LMS color run. They've obtained permission to apply for the yearly JAG grant for additional body cameras from the Finance Committee. This grant is a reimbursement for 75% of the cost. Estimates for 10 cameras and warranties are for a total of $18,100, which I think we'll be talking about that later on this evening. Sergeant Sullivan will be moved to B split C shift with Sergeant Cox working the A shift starting in June. And that's all I have for the police report.
Okay. On to Mr. Hitt.
I'll give the fire chief's report.
Okay.
EMS staff had their annual skills assessments, fire training for pre-planning commercial buildings. The new hire orientation continues. They've attended multiple webinars related to the new scheduling software that they have. They participated in a funeral. They participated in the Light Ohio Blue event. They completed foster home inspections. They participated in birthday parties. They participated in the Boy Scout award ceremony. That's it.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Blazer?
I attended the Finance Committee meeting, and there was a question last council meeting about where we were looking for loans when we're seeking the best rate and for the loans that we're looking at, and we have included all of the local banks, but they must be able to do bonds. So some of them, if they don't do bonds, won't be included, but everyone that does do bonds in the local community will be included in our search for the best loan rates. And then for the Public Safety Committee, we are looking at changing a rule about how it originated with the rule on how fences can be put up on your property, or ornamental front fences on the in your front yard. The problem being on corner lots, they were considering both the area across the front of the house and then the area across the side of the house as both being frontages to the house. And so we're going to amend that to it only being the part of the property that is the address for that house is considered the frontage, and then the side will be part of the backyard. Also discussed, after hearing the public's opinion about the traffic lights, we discussed removing Main and First from that list. We thought that was a good idea, so we kind of put that into motion. And then we also discussed what we call our Salute Our Champion signs. We're still working on the legislation resolution on how we're going to regulate that a little bit better so it looks more uniform where it needs to go, and we'll be coming to council with that. And then the Revitalization District. This is different from the Historic District. Paul Gross had requested that we consider the area of his property on 56 as part of a revitalization district. And kind of one of the main things is that for liquor license application and being granted with a revitalization district, for every 5 acres in that district, you are able to get another liquor license into your area. And so we looked at more of a broader picture to include downtown, because some of the people had been hearing for several years about businesses, specifically restaurants and stuff, that would like to come in even to the downtown, but there's no liquor license left. So by including most of downtown and then out our streets where major businesses is already at, as that is part of the revitalization district, we'll be able to attract more of those restaurant type businesses because they can have the liquor license. And that was about it.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Smith?
I don't have much to report. Just want to remind everyone that the sanitation department is open on Saturdays, and then our next meeting will be the 27th at 6:30.
All right, thank you. And our official reports, I think we have a recording. The mayor is not in town.
Good evening. Thanks for everyone for coming out tonight. I first want to apologize for not being able to be at the meeting tonight. I am excited to be able to give my city council update with our new media equipment we've been able to equip our offices with. I know many people are excited that the Ohio Department of Health is or will be suspending pandemic health orders. This is a great sign that we are getting back to normalcy. There's been some confusion on which orders are stopping due to the CDC and ODH having some different views. Madison County Public Health has released their recommendations, and they are as follows. So fully vaccinated people, people at least 2 weeks after the second dose in a two-dose series, or at least 2 weeks after a one-dose single-dose series, can do the following. Normal activities without wearing a mask or physically distancing, except when required by federal, state, or local laws. You could travel both domestically and internationally in accordance with current CDC guidelines. Exposures, quarantine, and isolation. A fully vaccinated person does not have to quarantine following a known exposure to COVID-19 case if the vaccinated person remains symptom-free. If unvaccinated, a person must follow the normal quarantine procedures if he or she is exposed to confirmed or probable COVID-19 case. The quarantine period is not less than 10 days following the exposure, and the quarantine period will be managed by Madison County Public Health. Anyone who tests positive for COVID-19 must do a normal isolation procedures. It's not less than 10 days, and it will be managed by Madison County Public Health. Masks and distancing. Anyone who wants to wear a mask should be permitted to do so unless specifically disallowed by federal or state law. So, you're not going to have to wear the masks. But look, if somebody wants to wear a mask, please do not shame them or look at them or give them a hard time. This is people's own free will if they still want to wear a mask. If someone's wearing a mask and you think that that's silly or they shouldn't be wearing a mask, just keep it to yourself. If somebody feels that they still need to wear a mask and wants to wear a mask, that is their individual right. Businesses, church and schools, healthcare setting, government offices, and other public, private locations can uniformly enforce their own mask policies for employees, volunteers, and to the public. The following people should wear a mask in all indoor settings: unvaccinated people, age 12 and older, and children 2 to 11 should wear a mask. The following people should wear a mask in crowded outdoors. Same, unvaccinated people over 12 and children 2 to 11. Anyone aged 2 and older should wear a mask when entering healthcare offices, hospital, or similar facilities, regardless of vaccination status. Anyone aged 2 and older should wear a mask when traveling on plane, bus, train, or other form of public transportation, regardless of vaccination status. People who have compromised immune system or undergoing treatments that weaken their immune system, and those who are more susceptible to hospitalization for the illness should wear a mask. So that's just some of the information that Madison County Public Health came out with. It is a great sign that we are finally starting to get back to normalcy. I still want people to definitely be safe and take care of yourselves. And like I said, if somebody has a mask on, let them wear a mask if it makes them feel more safe. The first piece of legislation I do want to talk about is 16021, which is a resolution to put our city renewal levy onto the ballot. This levy has been on the books with the same money since at least 1991, right? So we're talking 30 years right now. So it's the same money. This is not a new levy or a replacement levy, but it is a renewal for the same 2.1 mils money that the taxpayers are already paying. I now would like to talk about 16121, the resolution to set up the Municipality of London, Ohio Revitalization District. Mr. Gross and his team had talked about submitting an application for the Revitalization District, and we had many, many conversations about this. Their initial application seemed to not quite be the same vision that I had for the district. My team wanted to see more of the city encompassed by this district. My initial thought was to also include the historic downtown district, and Mrs. Reese suggested maybe we should look at the whole city of London. After several meetings and a lot of research by Mr. Castle and Mrs. Hitt, we came up with the district which is in front of you today. The district now includes many of the business areas around the city. I then asked Mr. Gross and his team to resubmit the application if they were in agreement. Mr. Gross was ecstatic that we came up with a bigger district and felt this would be great for economic development for the whole city. They resubmitted the application with our changes, and we all think this is going to be a great catalyst for businesses in London. We're excited for what this district is going to be able to do and help with our planned growth. Now on to the MOLO fun fact, which is the number 163. That is how many students that will be graduating from London High School. I would like to congratulate them on graduation and wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. I ask that they all please continue to work hard and make us proud. If you would like to congratulate the graduates, we will be having the second annual Senior Parade, which will be held Thursday, May 27th at 7 p.m. The parade started last year for the COVID class of 2020, and it was such a success that everyone really enjoyed it that they decided that they wanted to bring it back again this year. The parade route will begin at the high school, head down Elm Street, turn onto High Street, go down to Main Street at the courthouse, head up North Main Street, past Cowling Park, out to Garfield, and then turn right onto Garfield, where they will eventually end up back at the high school. If you have time, please come out, line the streets, and congratulate all these graduating seniors a week from today, Thursday, at 7 p.m., and help us show a little bit of support as they go on to the next stage of their life. So, I want to thank you all for your time, and you guys have a wonderful evening. Once again, I apologize for not being present. Everyone take care. Thank you.
All right, and we don't have any further city official reports. Now on to old business, ready for the third reading. Resolution 14221, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 14221, a resolution increasing appropriations, sponsored by Brenda Russell.
All right, let's see here. And this is a resolution for the street department to purchase salt. So there's a contract they need to procure for that, and this is $15,981.42. Does anyone have anything to add to this at third reading? Okay, what are council's wishes here?
Move to adopt.
Okay,
Second.
second. All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Robinson,
Yes.
Blazer,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
All right, 14221 is adopted. On to new business, resolution 15121, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 15121, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution increasing appropriations.
This is $7,000 will go towards the Yelp Yard there at the dog park. This is for dog apparatuses, or almost their own little park. What's that? Doggy recreation. Yes, if I'd have thought about, maybe we could have had something up there on the screen. Something's like a canopy / steps and slide. There's like a couple tubes
They can run through.
they could run through. There's like a tug swing. And was there something? I think there was like 4 different.
It's just a bunch of miscellaneous.
Yeah. So it'd be something nice for the dogs to do at the
Okay.
park.
All right, we have any further questions? All right, what are your wishes?
If nobody has any questions, I move to suspend the 3 reading rule.
I'll second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call.
Blazer,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
All right, and a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Peters,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Blazer.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. On to 15221, a motion to read by title or number.
I explained mine
So moved.
earlier.
And a second.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 15221, sponsored by Anthony Smith, a resolution authorizing the Board of Public Utilities to enter into a contract and purchase a tractor.
So this legislation here is for the wastewater department with the program that we set up for the biosludge to be used. There's just a large need for a tractor. One of the big issues, unloading and loading some of the pallets, materials from trucks. They're constantly having to borrow the tractor from the street department, which is wear and tear, being driven through town, things like that. He did set this up in his budget line. Jerry's doing a very good job, $90,000. What he's has set up to purchase, it's from our local John Deere dealership, AgPro. It'll include a loader bucket and front forks. He's at $55,000. He does not even have to purchase a loan, or excuse me, go through a loan. He'll be able to purchase this outright. So, and if anybody doesn't have any questions, I'd like to move that we, mine went blank.
Suspend the
Yes,
third
thank you.
reading.
Suspend the 3 reading rule. Thank you.
Get moving on that because farm science review's coming up.
Yeah, 15221.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Smith?
You say Smith? Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Hitt?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Laser?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Okay, and a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Hitt?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Laser?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
All right, motion is adopted. On to ordinance 15321, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 15321, sponsored by Rich Hayes, an ordinance amending 1270 of the codified ordinances.
Yes, what we're doing here, we're just amending this. This has to do with corner lots. It's going to specify front yard shall be determined by the address of said property, and a fence may be placed on the yard that is not considered the front yard. The fence may not be within 20 feet of the corner of the property.
So does that mean the non-frontal side, the fence can be all the way up to the sidewalk?
Wherever the 20 feet is.
I mean, 20 feet from the corner, right?
Well, yeah.
So it'd be back 20 feet. but
You
can
still
it-
got your setback rules for fences. So
From
it'll
the-
still follow that. It's just saying that it can't go beyond a certain point where you can't see to, when you come up to the corner, to see if there's any traffic coming.
So the setback is from the property line?
Setback would, yeah, from the property line, yes. Those will still be in effect, just like you would for anything
Right.
else.
So that still gives plenty of clearance to be able to see through there and then put the fence in the backyard instead of the front. All right. Any further questions? All right, what are our wishes here?
I'll make a motion. Do we vote on it, or we?
You can leave it on.
Yeah,
Just
leave it on.
just
This
leave
does
it on.
not have an emergency.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
no rush on it.
Okay. All right, on to ordinance 15421, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 15421, sponsored by Rich Hayes, an ordinance amending 452 of the codified ordinances.
What this is doing is amending section 452.18 and adding that any resident of Park Avenue may apply for a permit for parking in the Cowling Park lots to park in excess of 2 hours at a time. These would be obtained through the police department. They expire after 90 days. One permit every 90 days is issued at no cost. If you have an additional permit in the 90-day period for another family member, somebody, that'd be $5. Permit must be displayed so it's clearly visible on the front left side of the dashboard. Permits are not in effect during street sweeping, snow emergencies, festivals, special event parking, and any other time permit holders are provided notice from the City of London that permits shall not be in effect. Permits may be revoked at the discretion of the Safety Service Director or the Chief of Police at any time.
All right. Any further questions on 15421?
I had read somewhere, or saw somewhere that they were thinking of amending this to any city parking lot. Is that true?
Not on the permit part.
Okay.
Yes.
What
This-
about the public lot behind Main Street there? Is there any permit set up for that?
No. The only reason we're doing this is whenever they redid Park Avenue, some of those houses were allowed to park in front of their house. And when they redid the street, they took that parking away from them, and they don't have enough places for them to park. So they've been parking there in the lot at the pool.
Yeah.
And if we don't give them a mechanism to where they don't get a ticket,
Yeah.
legislation following here, if we pass it, they'll start getting tickets.
Yeah.
So this will stop them from getting, it's only for
Which
probably,
I think that's a great idea, but what
Yeah.
about the other parking lot?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's vehicles that sit there constantly. Do we have anything for that lot?
This,
the city, this is
Yeah.
only, I think these are only has to do with parks lots.
To
no,
deal
we
with
amended
parking?
it, they amended the attachments to say any city lots,
Mhm.
so it does,
Yeah.
it would be like beside Loving Care there on Second to,
Yeah, I mean, people
So it is-
that live there,
Yeah.
people that live there probably have permits because of, they normally park on Main Street in front of their apartments. So
Right.
they've got permits for, during the winter months. So during the winter months, they can park on that.
So the lot behind Main Street, we already have a permit set up, they can apply, they can get?
we do.
Those people do, yeah.
Okay.
We did, and it was for Main Street
it was
mostly,
for-
but I think that they have, if they have a permit, they can park overnight there, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Any other questions? All right, and that does not have an emergency clause, so we'll dump that one. On to 15521, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all right. Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 15521, sponsored by Rich Hayes, an ordinance amending 454 of the codified ordinances.
Basically, we're amending this to include and add park and recreation restricted parking lots and a fine of $25.
All right, so this is where we amended it to add the other parking lots as well. Okay. And this also does not have a emergency clause or anything. Are there any questions on 15521? Or 156, or 15521, yeah. All right, if not, on to 15621. Motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 15621, an ordinance amending 1062 of the codified ordinances.
Basically, what we're doing here is amending section 1062.03 to read as follows in subsection 16. Parking is allowed in designated areas only. Parking lots are designated to be for the use and enjoyment of parks and recreation department areas only. Commercial vehicles are prohibited. Overnight parking is prohibited. Violators will be subject to enforcement pursuant to Chapter 454.
Okay, so this sounds like further legislation that just kind of clarifies things for us in parking and parking lots and on-street parking. All right, any further questions?
I assume that the permit would allow people to park in that parking lot next to the pool there overnight? if
Yes.
they- But they have
Yes.
to have the permit displayed.
It has to be
Is that for
displayed.
only residents, though? I mean, the semi-trailer and the long
It doesn't
commercial
include
trailers
those.
that park there now
Right.
won't be allowed to
Yeah,
park.
Yeah, there's-
Those would not
the
be
other
allowed to have a permit.
Legislation's gonna cover that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It's only for cars.
Just Park Avenue residents?
It's only for, they're the only ones that's eligible to get the permit for that area, yes.
There's no emergency on this.
Nope,
one.
there's no emergency on this as well. All right, so, and that was 56.
Is there a extended period of time that they're allowed to be there even with the permit?
Yeah, that was 56.
I mean,
What do you mean, an extended
is
period of
there-
time?
Is there any time that they have to get out of that lot?
Only when we notify them.
Sure.
Okay.
Like if we have to resurface the
So,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I answered my own question as I was asking.
All right, no problem. Any further questions on 15621? All right, on to resolution 15721, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, clerk, please read the ordinance.
Resolution 15721, sponsored by Carla Blazer, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for and accept a grant for the Police Department for body cameras.
This is just allowing them to apply for the grant. It has to be an emergency because They were just notified about it before the Public Safety Committee, and it has to be in by June 1st. So this is for body cameras for every officer plus one in case there's one down for service or repair. And I think it's, they said that they get up to 75% and that for some reason they're usually okay almost the full amount. So it may be a little less than that. At the 25%, it's going to cost us about 45-25 in the matching, would be the matching fund. But I just think this is vitally important for the safety of our officers and for the safety of the public.
I agree.
So I'd like to make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
All right,
Now
clerk,
I can-
please take the roll call and suspension.
Hayes,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Laser,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Hitt.
Yes.
Okay, and a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt it.
A second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call.
Robinson,
Yes.
Laser,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
All right, 15721 is adopted. Ordinance 15821, motion to read by title or number,
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
All right. Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 15821, sponsored by Josh Peters, an ordinance amending section 6.02 of the City Policy and Procedure Manual.
This is just to update the policy and procedure manual for the city, revisions for the use of employer-owned vehicles and personal vehicle on employer business time, pretty much. Yeah, so it's just an update on some things throughout.
Okay. Any questions? 15821. All right, and that does not have an emergency clause. We'll leave that one on. Okay, on to resolution 15921, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
All right, and a second.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the ordinance or resolution.
Resolution 15921, sponsored by Carla Blazer, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into an agreement with Suvan LLC, doing business as First Energy Advisors, regarding electric energy consulting services and declaring an emergency.
This is a resolution like was talked about earlier to allow us to talk to somebody to get the best electric rates, also to kind of put all of the city departments on the same electrical provider, to hopefully kind of brings down some costs a little bit for us. And it's an emergency because we are, even though it seems kind of far away with December, but we've got to research it and bring back the a resolution to adopt and all that kind of stuff.
All right, any further questions? All right, and this does have an emergency clause.
Make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
Okay,
One second.
1 second. All right, clerk, please take the roll call on suspension.
Blazer,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Okay,
Make a motion to adopt.
to adopt, all right, and a second.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call on adoption.
Peters,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Laser.
Yes.
Motion carries. On to resolution 16021, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 16021, sponsored by Carla Blazer, a resolution declaring the necessity of levying a property tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for general operating expenses and requesting certification from the Madison County Auditor.
This is a resolution to, kind of the beginning of us putting the, renewal on the, ballot so that we have to get certification from the Madison County Auditor that this is how much that we're going to get the same amount that we have always got, for this levy. Like the mayor said, it's been in place for, over 30 years. It's always been a renewal. We discussed making it a replacement because that would bring a little extra money to us. It would be the same millage, only it would be on today's evaluation instead of a 30-year ago valuation. But we felt with the times as they are since COVID that if we can give everybody the break, we should. And so that's why we decided to keep it still a renewal and not a replacement.
Do you have any idea how much it generates?
That's what this is going to allow the.
Well, I mean,
auditor to
it's
tell
done
us.
every 5 years, right? So 5 years ago, they would have had an evaluation of what it generated.
For some
I
reason, I
assume-
want to say something like 400. Does that sound about right?
So it'll be based on the new property values.
No, old, still 30 years ago, probably right.
Oh. That seems kind of odd.
But that's, if you do a renewal, it even though it's
Stays
10 mils,
exactly.
it stays the exact dollar amount that the first levy was, the first day that you asked for it, what they told you it was worth, that's what it stays every year, no matter what happens with the property. And then you have to do a replacement to get the reevaluation so that you get 10 mils on today's property value versus 30 years ago.
So, I mean, she's basically going to just give us the same value from 1991? Is that right?
Yeah,
It's not significant.
yeah.
The renewal would bring $319,082. A replacement would be $414,895. So it's not significant to do.
Not that much.
So, because we're fighting time again on getting this to the ballot, we'd like to declare an emergency and suspend the 3 reading rule.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Smith,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Blazer,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
And a motion to adopt.
Make the motion to adopt it?
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. All right. Clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Hitt,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Blazer,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
All right. 16021 has been adopted. On to Resolution 16121, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 16121, sponsored by Henry Comer, a resolution to authorize and designate a revitalization district within the city of London pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 4301.81.
All right, and this is what we talked about earlier, and this would create a revitalization district. Originally, we were looking at just the area where Paul Gross was going to have his restaurant and the apartment buildings and the condos. We wanted to look at that, and we originally looked at that as a community entertainment district. Those had different guidelines through the state that, unfortunately, that area, it would have been a little tough to try to fit that into a community entertainment district. But I worked with, fortunately, Steve Stivers. He was really generous with his time and with his help, and his field representative, Tyler Reed, along with the legislative liaison, Abby Schaefer at the Ohio Department of Commerce and Ohio Department of Liquor Control, Sandy Wilson. They stepped in and they showed a different way that this actually could happen, because before we didn't know anything about it at all. We had no idea that there was a revitalization district that could even exist, because all we were aware of was the community entertainment district. Once they showed me the guidelines for the revitalization district, and we saw that it could fit the footprint of what we were looking for. And then then the committee took it even further and was able to include an area from 56 in front of the bowling alley where Mr. Gross's new restaurant and development's going to be, all the way down to Center Street, and then out 38 to Elm Street there in front of St. Pat's School, the elementary school, and then all the way down Lafayette Street there to, and I forget the name of the street there where Family Dollar is at. You always say it, I forget that name. Westmore, right, all the way down there. So that is quite a large area that was able to be included. And at the time, too, when the revitalization district was presented, we had no idea that all of that could even be included. So that was awesome, because that was some of Pat. I talked to Pat, and that was some of his future thoughts, was to include the downtown some way. But I know if we did a community entertainment district only in that area, you couldn't put another area in the city. So that was awesome when we were able to find out that you could actually include the whole area. So I really like to thank Steve Stivers and everyone that lended their time there at the Department of Commerce, because without them it would not have been possible, because we wouldn't have known anything about it. But with that area, it allows us to have one liquor license for every 5 acres. So that includes quite a few different areas that's going to open it up for the city to be able to definitely grow as far as restaurants and to serve alcohol and everything at restaurants. So thank everyone, thank the city, everyone in the committees who put their time together and put some effort and energy into this too. Everyone's on the same page to make sure that the city is moving forward and going in a good direction. And I think that this is an awesome project. We definitely couldn't pass it up. It's a $30 million project, and I'm not sure of the last time we had a developer that wanted to invest $30 million into London. So, we couldn't pass this up, so really glad to see this. Thanks, everybody, for all your hard work. And the county, too. Dave Kell, CIC, he had a lot of work into this as well. So I think it's been on papers now for over a year and a half. So glad we were all able to make it come together.
What, does this open up funds available, like through grants or through the government for revitalization?
For like a revitalization district?
Yeah, or to cover for the historic downtown revitalization? Would they be open to some funds?
No, that's two different things.
Two different things.
Okay.
Yeah, this is specifically just for the purpose of, let me see here, it's in here about entertainment and restaurants and everything like that for the city. It specifically covers that, the revitalization district itself. Let's see.
So, I mean, if a restaurant was to go into the historic downtown area, I mean, that would apply to that area.
Yeah, and if it was within 5 acres of another liquor license, then one would be available for it as well, so then they could add that to their restaurant.
We'll have to have all the addresses surveyed and accumulate the acreages of all of them. And then whatever it comes to, we get one license per every 5 acres. So if we get 20, we get four liquor licenses that can be allocated to, Paul Gross will take one, and then the other three other businesses.
Right.
So it's going to basically open it up. We have none available right now.
Right. So this definitely opens it up compared to what we currently have. All right. Do we have any questions? And this will be scheduled. We need to have a public hearing on this within 30 days. So our date is going to be for our July 1st meeting. There's going to be a public hearing held on this. All right. All right. 1-2, Resolution 16221. Motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All right. Clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 16221, sponsored by Rich Hayes, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for traffic lights and crosswalk controllers.
As most of you are aware, traffic lights need to be replaced. Crosswalk controllers need to be replaced. We need to authorize Safety Service Director to advertise for bids from the lowest and the best bidder. The bid is not to exceed $900,000. Any questions on this?
Yeah. And this is right now is for all the traffic lights and crosswalk crossings, correct?
As many as 900,000 will buy, yes.
Right.
Not all of the one, but it won't cover all of the ones that we presently have, right?
Right.
It's predicated on getting rid of some of the extra traffic lights.
Oh, I guess I was under the
No,
impression in the committee meeting that was for,
No,
This would cover all-
If we decide not to take anything out, this will cover everything that's available, that exists now.
Right.
If we decide to take anything else out,
Oh, I was,
we have the money
Right.
set aside for it.
Right.
And then.
oh, I thought it was
would-
the other way around.
The amount would be less than the 900,000, so
Right.
essentially, we would save money if we took lights out. If not, it's 900,000.
right, okay, yes. Yes.
So did you say earlier that Main and First was going to be kept?
That's what we had decided on in the public safety meeting, is that would break it up so that there's crossable areas within, comfortable walking distance, so you don't, now you would have to wait on a light. You'd either go from High Street or Center Street to cross South Main Street, and if you put First in, that's kind of halfway between the two.
Okay.
So who's the one that comes up with the final say-so of, and you bring that to everyone, or just say, I think this is what works best for us,
From
and,
what I understand, I get the final say-so on it.
okay. Is there any proposal that you make to anyone, or just say?
Well, we
No, I
talked
got
about
you.
it at the committees.
I understand 100%,
Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of, we think this is going out, we don't think this is going out.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're going to, you do your 30-day notice that the intersection is going to change, then you change it. You change it to what you want to go to, and,
Yeah,
if it turns out to be a total disaster, then that would be one that we wouldn't
well, I
totally
understand
take.
that, I know Messenger came out, we said we're gonna take all these out, I just wanna make sure,
Well,
I know you're gonna
whether
take out the
the
right
state
lights.
is right or wrong, the state says we have way too many lights in our town. And if you go to any other towns our size, we probably do. It's because, I've been told that the agenda of council members of the past was they wanted to put a street light in their name, basically.
Yeah.
And that's why we got so many street lights. So, and we have a lot of traffic that goes through here, and it just gets congested. If you come and sit in my office, there's not a day goes by that you don't see a backlog of traffic because of all the streetlights we got. So we got to try to, I don't mean quickly move it through town, but we've got to get a steady flow of traffic through our town. And if we do every other one, it's not going to be that far for somebody to move, to walk to get a controlled crosswalk that they can cross the street safely. So that's the plan.
I know Greg Eads brought up maybe trying to have crosswalks for pedestrians, for example, at High Street and Oak Street, or maybe another one like Yellow Springs has. Is there any, I haven't heard any discussion about that kind of thing, but it seemed like that might be helpful, possibly, if drivers yield to the pedestrians.
That's the problem right there. If that could be very dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're
would
not-
say that you'd want to
they're not
cross
yielding
at a traffic lighted
yeah.
intersection.
If you have the assumption that people are going to yield to you and you cross and then they don't,
Yeah,
that's,
that's one of the reasons
I don't
why we're
like all
taking
that,
red
right?
lights out, because you have the assumption when you have a green light that the other traffic's going to stop at certain intersections, and they don't.
I just
Right.
feel like it's the
So-
traffic that's trying to get in and out of town.
Yeah.
It takes forever to go down Main Street.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Forever. And most of the time, there's no one sitting on the road that you're waiting for.
Yep.
And you get caught at every single one. Once you catch one, you catch them all.
Catch them all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is leading to people, which I do it myself, I did it today. I don't want to go down Main Street because everybody's taking the side roads that is not good and not set up to handle that much traffic.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, and this resolution does have a emergency clause.
We're gonna,
Leave it on.
we're just gonna leave it on.
Okay.
sure there might be some people might want to comment on it, so we're just going to leave it on.
Okay. It's council's wishes, we will leave that on. On to roundtable. Mr. Smith.
Have nothing to report.
All right. Mrs. Blazer.
I'd just like to thank everybody that came to the meeting and spoke tonight also. I just wanted everybody to remember about kind of our, Safe Infant Sleep initiative, and to, also remember that it's warm weather. Kids are gonna be outside playing, not paying attention to where they're going, so please be mindful that, the side streets, especially the residential streets, to be watching for those children to jump out at you.
All right. Mr. Hitt.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Shannon Trainer for her presentation about updating us on the Historic Downtown Revitalization Committee. And also as far as the Revitalization District, I think it's great that Paul Gross is investing in the City of London, and hopefully that will help build London downtown area also.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Hayes.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and thank Ms. Trainer for her presentation. And to this young lady back here with the electric company, thank you. Appreciate you coming out tonight. Amen. I'm sorry I tore the envelope up. I'd like to thank all the city workers for jobs well done. I'm really excited about this thing we're going to do. Paul Gross is bringing this in, and I'm just really excited we can do this all the way down through town, and I think that this is what we need. I hear that more than anything. Every day I have somebody, when are you going to get some restaurants in here? When are you going to get some good restaurants in here? We're working on it. So I think this will be a definite good thing to do. I think we're headed in a good direction. I think cities, I don't want to brag on everybody here, but I think the city's got good council. And I think we all think pretty much the same. We're here to help the city. We're not here to help ourselves. We're looking forward. We're not kicking the can down the road. We're trying to take care of things that have been forgotten for a long time. And that's why we have to do so many things. We're resurging, and we're resurging in a good way. And thank the citizens of London, and I thank you all.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Robinson.
I just want to reiterate what everyone else is saying. I'm happy to see that our downtown has initiatives to get it looking better. My son, which is 11 years old, he talks about, he goes, Dad, how come these guys can't clean up windows and clean up the buildings and make it look pretty like the other downtowns? And I'm like, that's a great idea. And I just love that we're taking the initiative to clean it up. And we take walks down there quite often, and it's such a homey feeling to walk down there. And if we can get everything revitalized and going, it is so neat to walk down there with your kids and experience downtown experience in a small town. So I'm just happy to see that, and that's all I got.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Peters.
I just want to give a shout out to the class of 2021. Exciting year that, they got to do a few more things than last year's class. So good luck to the class of 2021.
All right. Also like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Thanks to Shannon Trainer for the presentation for the Downtown Revitalization Committee. Thank them for their dedication to helping to improve the city. And I see that one of the issues that we ran into back then, similar to now, and they'll definitely need to get this worked out with the Public Safety Committee, is the enforcement of some of these rules that are going to have to be in place in order for change to actually happen for the businesses and buildings that are falling apart, the residential houses that are falling apart. It's unfortunate the one house they showed is right next to me. They won't sell it. They won't do anything. It just sits there. It's been there for quite a while. But I personally would like to see something happen as well as for the city as a whole, the commercial properties and everything, because we do have a really nice downtown. We get lots of believe it or not, people who are not from here, they give us so many compliments at how neat our city is. They can't believe how neat it is. So, yeah, it's good to see that we live here and we also do take pride in our city. So, nothing else. A motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.